All benchmarking and no gaming makes Jason a dull boy. Hey everybody, welcome back to Linux for Everyone and welcome home. I have always loved indie games and indie developers, but I've never made a genuine effort to really put them in the spotlight. And that changes right now. Every month I'll be scouring the newest indie game releases, looking for games that really shine. And I'll be asking questions like, is the text actually readable? Does it run consistently well? How does it perform on both a Steam Deck and devices like the Legion Go S powered by SteamOS? And what happens when you plug them into an external monitor? Let's kick it off with 3 of the best new indie game releases from January 2026. Number 1 is Super Woden Rally Edge. Now, can an S-tier racing game really be created by a solo developer? Yeah, the answer is a resounding absolutely yes, it can. Both the visual and audio presentation of this game, it really captures the retro spirit of games like Sega Rally and the first several Gran Turismo entries. It sits perfectly between simulation and arcade physics, so it can be somewhat forgiving, but it still demands precision driving. And the whole experience is especially rewarding once you've learned the subtleties of your car and especially of the track. You'll really feel the differences between car classes, and the upgrades you install along the way, they're not just stat bumps, they are meaningful, with the handling translating really well to on-track performance. And your car definitely responds differently to the various gravel, dirt, asphalt, and icy surfaces. Now, rally racing is intense, whether it's solo or head-to-head, and part of the tension here comes from the camera angle, which sort of exists in between an isometric and behind the car camera. It gives you just enough time to react to your co-driver's direction and negotiate the turn ahead. So I'm a music junkie, and the music here absolutely rules. The original soundtrack is downright packed with bangers, and somehow it kind of feels like listening to all those iconic tunes that you loved from the days of classic Sega racers. I'm gonna actually play you a bunch of them because they're so good. Here's a quick sample. Okay, let's talk performance. Like past games in the Super Woden franchise, it was designed with handhelds in mind. And on Steam Deck OLED, you'll easily max out at 90 FPS. And on deck, if you cut the TDP down to 7 watts, you can still coast along over 60 FPS consistently and really extend the battery life. When plugging in my Steam Deck to an external monitor and cranking up the resolution to 1080p, I also saw a steady 60 FPS. At normal power levels. With the Legion Go S powered by SteamOS, you're gonna get 100 to 120 FPS at 1080p. There's absolutely no performance issues here. The regular price for Super Woden Rally Edge is $12.99 on Steam, and between the soundtrack that just consistently rocks, all of the event types, all of the cars, the upgrades, the really imaginative, albeit fictional, tracks, and the challenge that's there. It's a fantastic game. Totally worth your money. Go pick it up. Number 2, Mio, Memories in Orbit. Now this one is Steam Deck verified and SteamOS compatible. But let's talk about the game, because I'll be honest, I don't usually enjoy Metroidvanias, but Memories in Orbit kind of softens all the things that irritate me about that genre. It doesn't feel as punishing. It's not demanding that I remember a certain door or corridor I passed like 8 hours ago. I love the environmental storytelling that's here and the way it rewards your curiosity without forcing you to become some kind of combat genius. It also has clever assists to reduce the difficulty, which, makes it a lot more accessible for a wider range of people. It has this sci-fi watercolor aesthetic. The soft lighting and pastel palette, it really helps you sink right into the atmosphere of this game. It's just gorgeous. And major bonus points for having a toggle that increases the size of text. As handheld PC gaming continues to get more popular, this should be a default setting to include on every single game out there. Okay, let's talk performance. On Steam Deck OLED, you can play at 1280 by 720 with medium graphics quality and pretty much lock in 90 FPS. If you want to crank up the visuals, then setting your graphics quality to high still gets you between 45 and 70 FPS, even during combat and fast area traversal. On my Legion Go S powered by SteamOS, and I have the Ryzen Z1 Extreme version, I played at the handheld's native 1080p resolution and saw between 95 and 120 FPS with medium quality settings. Cranking it up to high got me anywhere from 65 to 90 FPS. It performs really well across the board. And number 3 on the list is Cairn. I love hiking and backpacking, but I have a visceral fear of heights. Yeah, so I'm not going to be attempting to climb El Capitan or scale the Taipei 100 in this lifetime, okay? Despite that fear, though, after experiencing the opening hour or so of Cairn, I had this intense craving to just go climb a boulder somewhere. But perhaps the best praise I can give this indie gem from the Game Bakers is this. When I'm not playing Cairn, I'm thinking about it obsessively. So while I'm not a climber, I've always been fascinated by the sport. And Cairn has elevated that fascination by making me appreciate so much. Every hold, every minor decision a climber has to make, just all of the mental and physical exertion and stamina that you have to have. So now when I go to Yosemite, I'm studying all the cliff faces and wondering what a successful route might look like if I actually had the nerve to do it. So far, Cairn is a gorgeous, inspiring, nerve-wracking, and very immersive climbing simulator with physics that really feel true to life. And I've barely started my adventure. And I have to also applaud how many ways you can approach the game, just like how there's all the ways you can approach the mountains. If you love the pure climbing mechanics as much as I do, and you want to disable all the survival elements, just turn them off. You won't starve or die from exhaustion, you'll just climb. If you want to free solo it with permadeath on your next run, you can do that too. If you don't want the game to automatically select the right limb based on your position, you can take direct control. Okay, let's talk performance. If you tried the demo at any point, rest assured the final game performs a lot better. This almost didn't make the cut based on my demo experience, but the final release is a big improvement. But I have to say, even though the developers got an official Steam Deck verified badge, they barely got it. At the deck's native resolution, with the default of low graphics quality, you'll mostly stay above 30 FPS, but not always. When zooming the camera way back to study potential routes up the mountain, that's when frame rate dips are the worst. Fortunately, this is not a Twitch shooter, it's not a racer, it's a slow-paced, methodical experience, and I didn't feel like the gameplay suffered at 30 FPS. Now, if you have a handheld with the Ryzen Z1 Extreme chip, performance is understandably better. Normally, these videos would be 3 games and out, but as I was wrapping up production of this one, I stumbled across a game, and there's only one way for me to say it, and that's in Duke Nukem voice. The game is called Game with Balls. I can't do it. Anyway, it's called Game with Balls, and it takes full advantage of the Steam Deck's gyro sensors. So it feels exactly like those old hand-carved marble mazes that you might have played with as a kid. And the great thing is, even if you don't have a Steam Deck, It's also playable with Sony's DualSense controller, so if you have one of those and any other PC, you're good to go, but it really does feel great on the Steam Deck. I will see you next month for 3 more awesome indie games that are a great experience on your Steam Deck and beyond. Until we chat again, take care and take care of each other.